bring an end to the concert. This has been so fantastic. Well, welcome everybody. What a pleasure to see you all this morning. My name is Frances Anderton, just to repeat. I host a program called DNA at KCRW radio station, Go KCRW, and I cover design, architecture, art, and all related. I have a very small job today, which is really to introduce you to the guy that's going to carry you through the day, and he's going to be conducting this amazing symphony of voices that you're going to be hearing. He's brought in some great talents. You're very, very lucky. So super briefly, I'm just going to say that just to sort of set him up, really one of the privileges in my life in journalism has been to meet a lot of artists, basically people like you. It's artists who create meaning and beauty. It's artists who, if they get angry and frustrated, find creative ways to channel such anger, not horrible nihilistic acts like we've been exposed to this week. As I was coming to here today, I just was sort of reading around. I was thinking, you know, it's quite difficult to talk about artists. We value art, we value artists, but what do we actually, sort of how do we articulate it? And it so happens I was landed on my desk at work, a book called What Artists Do. It's by a really incredible writer called Leonard Cohen. I totally recommend this book. And he said that what artists do is, quote, they are part of that nebulous, unquantifiable dimension of reality we sometimes call the poetic. The poetic, he says, transcends the practical imperatives of life, and it is also importantly a wellspring of joy and pleasure and wonder. But, and this is where we get onto the purpose of today's conference, he says, nobody really needs art. So if artists want their work to be acknowledged, they have to figure out how to make the value of their creations apparent and compelling to others. This means, he says, getting people to pay attention, then turning their attention into a sustained interest. But he's talking about making the value of your creations apparent to others and creating value for yourself and for your bank account, and that is what the lineup of speakers today will address. I should say that in my life in journalism covering design and art, I've really been exposed to how artists present themselves. And I've met people who are exceedingly talented in painting, sculpture, video making, whatever is their medium. I've also met people who are incredibly talented at selling themselves, as in marketing, you know, creating a really compelling narrative around their work that's very seductive to buyers, to museums, to the press. Obviously, ideally, one has a combination of both of those. Typically, I've found artists who are good at marketing themselves, who do create that sort of compelling identity. They're also often very good at the business side of art, which, sad to say, you know, some of us, you know, who are creative just don't want to have to think about money, but you kind of have to if you don't have mum and dad to look after you. So it's really essential to figure out how to make a living. While not losing that thing that my writer, my guy who wrote the book I think is so good, What Artists Do, you don't want to lose that nebulous, unquantifiable dimension of reality that makes you an artist at heart. So, how to sell yourself, how to know your worth, how to create a strong identity without going into sort of slick brand territory. These, I think and hope, are the aspects of being an artist that today's speakers are going to talk about. And they know from experience because they're mostly working artists themselves. But my job is to introduce the MC. He's a man that I'm happy to call a friend. He's a multi-polymath. He can do a billion things. He's a designer, he's an artist, he's a curator, he's a producer, he's an author. He's helped create brands, products, content for many companies, including Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Procter & Gamble. He's chalked up many other accomplishments, including he's an Ironman triathlon finisher twice. And he's a member of this club that I'd never even heard existed called the Explorers Club, which is what, you ask? Well, to become a member of the Explorers Club, he had to live for a year in the south of the... Well, he didn't have to. This was what he did to become a member of the Explorers Club. He lived for a year south of the Arctic Circle, and while there, built a log cabin and lived in it like Grizzly Adams. So, running a conference about art, I don't know if it's quite on a par with being Grizzly Adams. But anyway, he was born to a name that befits the endurance I've just described, power. His first name is Scott. He's going to use some of his Iron Man will to guide you through the entire day. Please welcome to the stage Scott Power.
Thank you, Francis. You're the best. Thank you so much. Wow. Hey, good morning, everybody. So thank you, Francis. Thank you, Parlor Social. How great are they, right? So good morning. Welcome to the inaugural Not Real Art Conference for Creators. I'm so glad to see you all here. I am Scott Sourdough Power. I am the creator of Not Real Art and the executive producer of this conference. Before we start, I want to thank you all again for coming. I also want to thank our partners, Prints on Wood, Turkel Art Supplies, Sugar Press, ArtShare LA, for helping make this important event happen. I also want to thank Wendy Marabella of Moondance Events and Heidi, yes, Wendy, and Heidi Johnson of Hijinks PR. I couldn't do it without them, and they make me look better than I am, so it's great. As Francis was saying, it's an exciting time for artists. In fact, I would argue that today is perhaps the best time in history to be an artist. We have more mediums, more materials, more tools, more business opportunities than ever. The Not Real Art Creators Conference was designed to help enhance our careers by providing invaluable information that is relevant, useful, and actionable for us today. Today, we're going to cover a lot of ground. We're trying to pack 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag, so we'll see how it goes. Our speakers include top artists, industry experts, and they're all excited to share their knowledge and experience with us today. In your swag bags, you'll find the agenda and the bios for all the speakers, so please, as we're trying to roll through a lot today, please use those materials to help you track along, as well as there's a lot of really excellent stuff in those swag bags. So I hope you enjoy them. We've got some great prints from Sugar Press. The artists are here. You should have them sign them. And there's a wristband. Please put that on. There's a survey that we'll have you guys take afterwards to tell us how we can do it better next year. And finally, this conference is ultimately for you. I hope that you discover something useful, new, inspiring today so that you leave here today feeling empowered and ready to get to work. But last but not least, let's have fun, right? Let's have fun today. We have a lot to be grateful for in this world and in this life today, to be here as artists celebrating our passion for creating art. So with all that being said, let's start the show.